Agriculture water quality is regulated under the Food Safety Modernization Act, or FSMA, Produce Safety Rule. Protecting the safety and quality of your fresh produce is very important. Subpart E of the FSMA Produce Safety Rule states that all agricultural water must be safe and of adequate sanitary quality for its intended use. This requirement applies to agricultural water, which is defined as water that is intended or likely to contact covered produce or food contact surfaces. This includes water used during growing activities for covered produce using a direct water application method, and water used for certain activities during and after harvest for sprout irrigation. This video will cover all agricultural water used for production purposes. Post-harvest water will be covered in another video. According to the Produce Safety Rule, production water refers to water that meets the definition of agricultural water and is used during growing activities for covered produce, other than sprouts, for the purpose of the Produce Safety Rule. This includes water used in irrigation, fertigation, foliar sprays, and frost protection. There are 3 different water sources that are commonly used as agricultural water: public water, groundwater, and surface water. The safety of fresh produce can be impacted by many factors, including the source of the water. Human pathogens can be introduced into water supplies and may contaminate the produce during growing activities. Each of the 3 water sources have different probabilities of contamination with human pathogens, such as E. coli. Public water can be contaminated in the piping between the treatment plant and the farm, or in the water distribution system on the farm. Groundwater is vulnerable to contamination if wells are not capped or are open to the environment. If they are shallow, cracked, or improperly constructed, or if septic tanks are located too closely to wellheads. Of the 3 water sources, surface water is the most prone to contamination because it's open to the environment. This allows for direct access of wildlife, which can introduce animal feces into the water supply. Other sources of contamination include manure application, composting operations, agricultural runoff, and wastewater discharge. In addition to the source of agricultural water, the specific irrigation method impacts the potential for contamination of produce. Overhead or sprinkler irrigation comes directly into contact with the produce and therefore has high risks associated with contamination. Surface flood or furrow irrigation can be an effective and safe method because direct contact with the produce occurs less frequently than with overhead water. If contamination is present in the water, it can be widely distributed across the soil and could potentially contaminate the produce grown underground. Trickle or drip irrigation reduces the risk of unintentional direct water contact with the produce growing above the soil. Root crops and those growing on the ground may be directly contacted when using this method. To minimize risks associated with public water supplies, you can assess your connection to the distribution system downstream. Test the water if you have any concerns about its source, and have a backup plan if you think the water may be unsafe. To prevent contamination due to groundwater sources, it's recommended that septic systems are located at least 100 feet from the wellhead. Additionally, you can ensure that the wellhead is properly capped, elevated, and in good condition. Also, survey to make sure that the land slopes away from the wellhead to prevent runoff contamination into the well, and install backflow prevention devices. Risk prevention of surface water sources includes assessing nearby land use and upstream water activities, assessing and addressing runoff risks, and monitoring and controlling animal access. Remember to document your water reports. Keep the records in an accessible location. Date, name, and signature of who completed the task should be documented. The following records must be established and kept where applicable: the findings of water system inspection, water test results, monitoring of water treatments, corrective measures taken, scientific data used to support compliance. More details are found in the PSA manual and resources. Follow these steps to help ensure that your produce stays clean and maintains its safety and quality from the time it's planted to the time it's delivered to your customer.